Two teams remain with the Summoners Cup on the line. Only one of these two teams from the LCK and LPL respectively can walk away with a World Championship. Returning to a Worlds final yet again in back-to-back finals to say the least, we have T1 representing the LCK, doing the miracle run of beating every single LPL team at this World Championship. And their opponent here in the final is, of course, an LPL rep. It's the 4th seed, the unexpected hope of China, Weibo Gaming, going up against the Titans. We've said already only one can win, but who will it be? As today, we lock in our predictions for the World Championship final. So, let's get into today's predictions. This is going to be an outright brawl across the rift between these two massive lineups. The underdogs and the GOATs, the dynasty of T1 being re-surmounted again live in Korea once more. This is a big series and we're going to break it down piece by piece. Starting in the top lane. This is one of them matchups that's very surprising to me because it reminds me so much of the Weibo BLG series. The reason being is both teams have priority on Aatrox. Zeus and the Shy, arguably the best top laners in the world right now, as they've beaten everyone else, and I think it's important to highlight this. Both of them have high priority on Aatrox. This is the same story as Bin and the Shy both playing the pick, and it became quite a big, contested champion in their series. But here, I think the top lane will be decided by Aatrox. It's unfortunate to say that a single champion will decide that, but it makes it so much easier if you're able to get the comfort pick for yourself. As Zeus has played it 6 times with a 66% win rate. That's pretty good. He's only dropped probably 2 games in his entirety of Worlds. As for the Shy, he's played it 5 times, 60%. So it's about the same. They both won 3 and 4 games respectively of Aatrox as their pick. And that's kind of important to note because looking at the rest of these stats, the Shy is one of these players who's been very carry orientated as a player, and looking at his stats, he's been tied the most in terms of damage percentage for his team coming into this series. So if T1 are able to shut the Shy down, it kind of puts Light in a bit of a situation where he's having to step up for the team. And we'll get to the bot lane matchup a little bit later on, but top lane, it's all going to come down to who gets these big powerful picks. And I think pick ban phase 1 will see a lot of prio on the top lane, and depending on who gets red side first, it's probably going to be a big counter pick in that matchup. Now, as for the next lane we're going to attack, it's the mid lane. We're skipping over jungle, and there's a pretty big reason why we're doing that. But looking at the mid lane, this is the most interesting in places. Faker has been, without a doubt, MVP of the entire tournament for T1. He's got them so far with his leadership, with his shot calling, in the latest mic check in the JDG series, his amazing play on Tarula in the mid lane that turned around a massive deficit. He was calling it, he was saying he wanted to fight here, and it set up for that amazing combination of the Emperor's Divide and crash down onto the Callista of this, a JDG lineup. That set up and gave T1 the fight back into winning game 3 of the series. And here, the fact that Faker has only played 3 champions at Worlds is surprising. we said that he is the guy at MSI that was facilitating the team, playing the likes of the Gallios, the Casantes, to get set up, to get his young blood roster these wins. Here, he's been setting up, but also playing these massive control mage carries. He's only played 3 champions. One of them's a Silas, who isn't a control mage, so you take that out in the pool. Ori, Azir, his 2 bread and butter picks. Simply put, I'm going to say this, if T1 wins Worlds, Ori is getting a World skin for T1. Because at this World Championship, he's already got an Azir skin. He might as well get the Orianna to go alongside it. And here, he's been, without a doubt, the best player the entire tournament in setting up his team. Now, his counterpart, Xiaohu, this is probably the biggest name in the LPL that still plays. That's kind of his status now. And we were saying in the last breakdown against BLG that him and Yagao have struggled in this tournament. And that is completely true. He's been one of the weaker performing mids from the major regions. And here against Faker, I think Xiaohu, if he's not on his peak performance and he plays like how he has done throughout the rest of the tournament, he's going to get absolutely bodied by T1. I think a lot of how this tournament has gone will revolve around pick ban and how well that goes for a team. And maybe Faker, forced off of these 3 comfort picks that he's found himself, will be a step in the right direction to beating T1. But here, you look at it. Faker, unable to play Ori or Azir, was in the Gen G series. He was forced onto Silas, and T1 got absolutely demoralized in that Gen G matchup. Faker was unable to find success, and that kind of bit T1 in the bum. So if Weibo are able to use the same strategies that Gen G used, then chances are there may be a bit of a evenish matchup in the mid lane. Because, spoiler alert, Xiaohu has had so many different champions being played and so many different kind of outcomes. He has been all over the place. But the fact is, he's still here in the finals, so clearly he's won games and done well in some aspects of the game. I'm not saying he's been the top player for the team, but he has somehow found his way to be involved in so many kills for his lineup. And it's amazing that he's got the tied most percentage of KP for his team, but it's not like resulting in high amounts of kills for him. It's assists predominantly to set up for the rest of the game, to set up for the likes of Light to pick up and just outperform the rest of the opponents. And now I guess we'll go back to the jungle. This is where I wanted to kind of get to further down the line, because let's be honest, junglers here in this tourney have kind of only been able to play 3 big picks and find success. It's the Rel, it's the Maokai, and the Jarvan. Wei Wei is not a Jarvan player. He's only played 1 game of it. And that is kind of a surprise considering the Shy has played 3 games in Rumble. The reason I say that ties together so impactfully, it's because you've got the Hot Pot, you've got the Cataclysm into Equalizer and Flame Spitter combination that, realistically speaking, if you're not playing Jarvan with that, you're probably playing Maokai. And if you're not playing Maokai, then you're just throwing. I mean, you can say Rel would work, but typically speaking, you tend to play Jarvan. The fact that there's only been 1 game for Wei Wei on that pick, comparative to Ona, who's played 5 full games of it, and his pool is very more refined compared to Wei Wei. there's a bit of a telltale story as to how this is gonna go. And it's important to note this. Only T1's bot lane, and I repeat, T1's bot lane, have more... Well, they've got probably the most refined pool of any team in this tournament in terms of the top half of the map. They play very little games on champions outside of their comfort. It's like Zeus, he's played, sure, literally 6 champions, but it's 1 game on 4 of them. The others are Aatrox, where he's played 6, and Jace, where he's played 2. So even then, that's barely scraping more so any other champion. Then you have Ona, who's played 5 games of Jarvan, 4 games of Rel. Then he's got a Sedge, Poppy, and Maokai game just thrown in there. Faker's only got 3 champions, and even then, Silas has only 2 games. We've already discussed that. Gumayushi has played 3 games of Varus, and then 1 game on literally 8 AD carries. He plays a lot of different things, so he's very hard to ban against. But like, the Varus has been where he's found success. Historically as well, at Worlds, he's been a very good Varus player. Then you have Carrier. He's got fairly refined pool, but it's a little bit more loose in terms of the fact that it's Renata, Bard, and Ashe as his main plays, then Alistar, TK, Senna as the rest of his pool. And if you take away the T1 bottom half of the map, there has been in total 14 champions played by T1 in the top half of the map. If I do the respective same thing to Weibo, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21 champs across the top half of the map. It's nearly double. I am exaggerating the double status, but there's a considerably large amount of more champions being played by Weibo. And if T1's pool gets questioned, which I'm pretty sure it will do in this series, we'll probably start to see the champions just be increased to different picks. I think T1 are like G2 in how they draft. G2 come into a series with a plan. If you ban a certain champion, they'll just go off the wall and throw together a set of picks that will work. That's how they've drafted against Koi before, and Rogue, when it came down to it. They did it in last split. They did it in a couple of years ago when Rogue was challenging for the title. They've done it several times because Rogue are a textbook team. We know that. So throwing a curveball at them, they can't play their style, meaning they get beat. T1 are a sort of a similar style of team where they throw curveballs regardless. Their bot lane, the fact that they've played so many different things makes it so hard to lock them down in the pick ban phase. And spoiler alert, I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen an Aphelios out from Gumayushi at this tournament. And there's an important reason why I'm saying this. Aphelios has kind of risen into priority as an ADC, considering the fact that the likes of the Xayah gets banned. Kaiser has kind of fallen off throughout this tournament. Ashe rose up a little bit more to prio, but that was mainly in the support role, even though it has been played by Guma as an ADC. And then it leaves you with just Aphelios. This guy has risen to priority for a lot of the LPL teams. Specifically Weibo, where Light has played this champion 5 times. It's his most played. And you typically pair it with the Milio or a Enchanter support. Renata fits into the boat as well. It's interesting that Aphelios hasn't really been targeted as heavily as other champs, and it amazes me that it comes through to pick ban phase quite a lot. So if I was to do a hypothetical pick ban phase for both these teams, so T1, I don't know how side select. No, I know how side select has worked. It was a coin flip on the press conference. I don't know the result of it. I will have to check that one out. But essentially, if T1 are on blue, this is all hyper. These are just scenarios, shall we say? I was going to say hyperfixations, but that's the wrong word. Essentially, T1 ban Rumble. They ban Rumble. They ban Aphelios, and probably Oriana. So that would be probably the response bans from Weibo being maybe Azir ban. Maybe you ban that out because Ori's banned. You ban. I don't see teams typically ban Nico on red side, but that's a bit of a different story because T1 don't play it or haven't played it. Weibo's bans have consisted on red side of the Jarvan, the Xayah, and the Maokai. Their blue side's Jarvan, Rakan, Jax. That was purely because of BLG. T1's bans consist of Nico, regardless, they clearly don't want to play it. Xayah or Rakan, dependent on side. Red side it's the Xayah. Then it's Jarvan or Maokai, so they ban a jungler. I think their bans, typically speaking, will work here against Weibo, to be honest. I dropped the Jarvan ban for a different thing, so probably a Rel, and go for. So my T1 bans would be for red side, Nico, Xayah, and then Rel. That's just my hot take. As for Weibo, I think they'll probably go. I think honestly they could do a similar sort of thing where Jarvan gets removed, because of course. You then ban out the Aatrox, maybe Aatrox, maybe you ban the Vi. You ban something. You ban Aatrox or Ori, and then you may ban the Azir, and then you force Faker into an awkward situation. To be fair, if they triple ban out Faker, that would be quite interesting. Anyway, I'm kind of going off topic here, but we need to wrap it up with an actual prediction. I've spent quite a bit of time rambling through this series, and as a whole, I think it will come down to the mid lane. I'm going to be focusing in on it when we break it down on Monday. We'll be doing the breakdown because I need some time to study stuff on Sunday. But yeah, typically speaking, I think this is going to be a 3-1. I think the series, while close, won't be overly close. I think T1 will probably have a better understanding of the draft and how it should shape up. I think giving a game to Weibo is kind of expected. I think when they go over to, when they lose game 1, they choose side select, they go over to blue side, they win that game, and then T1 choose blue, and then they win on red side in the last game. Kind of like how they've done so far throughout all their best of fives. They've done something similar. But here, I think 3-1 T1 just makes the most sense. Typically speaking, T1 considered the stronger team of the two in this one. In fact, I'm going to check Pick'ems to see how people have gone. I'm pretty sure it's like 87% to T1. Don't question me on that. I'm genuinely not too sure on that one per se. But if it's... Oh wait, the page is down. Nice. It's not letting me in. There. Bang. Nice, thanks. Weird, I should be logged in. Anyway, I'll just quickly log in, check Pick'em, tell you how the rest of the world have shaped up this matchup. I'm pretty sure T1 is favoured. Everyone thinks they're favoured. In fact, it's a higher percentage than 87%. It's 90% to T1. But yeah, T1 3-1 is my lock-in. The matchup, I think, will come down to the mid lane where Faker will dominate with that. I'm going to round it out here. Thank you very much for joining me. Bit of a long one, rambling on about one series. But, hey, it is what it is, and we get to round it out here. 20 points, if I correctly predict this one. That takes me over 100, by the way. That should get me a nice reward. I just wanted to see my rewards for correctly predicting. So if I get 100 points, I get 50 event tokens, which is nice. That's the extra thing, because I'm currently on 85. So with that, I guess we round it out here. Thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new and if you want to. And I will see you for the series breakdown. You don't want to miss that on Monday. Peace out.